Hello friends and welcome again to another AFK journey video. In this video we'll be talking about the new character that has dropped to the game. Now he have his limited character or limited banner up and it's Ludovic. And Ludovic, not Ludwig, Ludovic. Ludovic is a decent healer on the Graveborn faction and he has some uses in some cases and scenarios. Now, is he a broken character? Is he meta? Should you summon for him? Should you not? I don't necessarily say he's a very skippable character if you want to skip him, but he helps you in the Graveborn tower if you want to go and have a support that can heal. His only thing that they dropped in this game for him to be used as a healer, since we lack healers in the Graveborn, I think this is it. Basically, he's a better healer, better support than having somebody like Nero. But Nero have his advantages with the reviving and the stalling teams, which is completely different than him. He's just a healer. He doesn't even buff or debuff. He literally do a little bit of stuns when you get him to Mythic Plus. We'll be talking about that and covering that. His healing range is okay and it moves throughout the field. It follows the weakest ally with the weakest heals. So you can pair him up with somebody like Thorin so he can get more healing because he loses a lot of heals when he tanks. You can pair him up with somebody like Viperion. So Viperion gets a little bit of healing because he loses HP a lot, or somebody like talene or anybody who loses HP a lot and needs a little bit of support of the healings. And that's it basically about Ludovic. The best skill or the best thing, and I kid you not, I'm not joking here, the best thing about Ludovic and his entire kit and utility is the seasonal buff. To be honest, the best thing about him is his seasonal buff. Now I did a multi and luckily from my first summons, I wasn't at all near any guarantee or something. I got his copy on the first pull, so it was pretty much great. And let's talk about what does he do? What's his whole kit is about healing, that's all. He does a little bit of damage when they step into the flowering field. There's a field that he drops with his ultimate. Let's read it. So he generates a field of Everblooms with a total healing amount of 1200% of his current attack. So you build him on attack, well, of course we're gonna max all his equipment and he'll have more healing. As you see, the healing is insane. He does good amount of healing. The healing output is really good. The problem is the range is a little bit narrow or small, so it doesn't reach everybody. It reaches the weakest ally, then it will move with his passive. We'll be talking about that. Restoring HP for adjacent allies up to 150% plus 10% per second. The Everbloom field will wither when its healing amount depletes, but will restore 100% per second and revive when the healing amount is full, which is really good. It means he's consistent with his healings on the spot and he immediately heals from the start of the battle. So immediately from the start of the battle, you can see his healings going and helping out with it's an advantage more than having like Heaven or having Damien for healing. They will heal a little bit later in the game. They need to accumulate energy. He just heals immediately. And whenever he has ultimate, his energy, he will pump his ultimate. And then it increases the tiles by 2. And that's it. That's all about it. Now his passive, whenever a non-summoned enemy on the battlefield loses 40% of their maximum HP, the Everbloom field will absorb 15% of the max HP up to 350% from him as a nutrients to restore the healing amount, and he will restore it for the ally with the weakest or who lost 40%. The active Ludwig hurls Everblooms at the enemy with the highest accumulated damage dealt, making them lose HP equal to 40% plus 10% per second over 4 seconds, which is good actually. So he's a decent support for healing. He's not a full support as in a matter or way that he does buffs or debuff. He doesn't do that at all, except for his seasonal buff. We're gonna talk about that. But on his own, he's just there for the healings and that's it. And a little bit of stuns, we're gonna talk about that. Ludwig moves the Everbloom field near the weakest ally and absorbs 9% plus 1% of the non-summoned enemy HP. So if there's summons from the enemy, it will not affect them. Up to 150 to restore Everbloom field healing amount, which is really good. It means he's consistent and he deals a little bit of damage. His damage is noticeable a little bit when you max him out. Is it better than Smokey? Absolutely not. Is it better than somebody like Rainier? No, Rainier does good amount of damage actually, except when it's AoE and everybody is gathered into the field, you'll see him do some damages. Now his Legendary Plus, Ludwig increases the healing amount by 9 during the battle. His healing will increase by an extra 2 when the Everbloom field accumulates a healing equal to 2,400% and unlocked at Legendary Plus, which is really good. Go up to 14 and then an extra 4, which is nice. Now his mythic, every 2 times the Everbloom field absorbs nutrients through Lifeweaver blooms, it will produce an ephemeral berry that explodes for a short delay, dealing 100% of the damage to all enemies, restoring 130% HP for all allies within the range of the blooming field, which means they need to be inside it and the enemy needs to go inside the field so that you can deal damage. So we can play him with tanks, something like Thorin, just push him up there and he will drop the healing field on top of him and he will deal a little bit of damage and stun the enemies, and that will help you a little bit with the damages and healing your tank. But your other lineups that are away from the healing field, they will not get healed, and this is the problem. It's a little bit of a problem with him. I hope that they rework him or make him better. I hope that the range is better, or at least he can buff or debuff other than doing these, because these are limited. Plus on Mythic Plus you're gonna get them, but they are limited in a small area. So his +2 increases the damage dealt, plus restoring the HP. At +15, permanently enhances the Everbloom field upon the first 4 times. It absorbs the nutrients, restoring its healing amount by 50% per second. This effect even when the Everbloom field is withered. So even when it's withered, this healing amount and these damages will stay on the field with the duration after 4 times, which is good. At Supreme Plus, whenever an enemy steps into the Everbloom field, they will instantly take 100% with 20% damage and be stunned for 3 seconds. So this is the luxury for him, is the 3-second stun, which is good. But of course, if you're facing a lineup that have Heaven or Heavian, no, doesn't matter how you want to pronounce it, she will debuff and remove the stuns. This is why we're using her more and more, and she's one of the greatest healers in the game. As for PvP, especially content or for dispelling and stuff like that, this effect can be triggered once for each enemy every 12 seconds. It's a long duration. If it was maybe every 3 or every 5 seconds or every 6 seconds, so 3 seconds with stun, 3 seconds without stun, that would be awesome actually. Now here you go. The best thing about him is his seasonal buff. Every 5 seconds increase the attack by 13% and haste by 11 for 3 seconds for the ally who dealt the most damage and has a HP ratio above 75%. This is the only good thing about him that I think about, that we tested him, okay? I was on the live stream of Rekisi. If you don't know who's Rekisi, I'll keep a link in the description for you to go and check. His live stream was awesome. He just paragoned him and he tested him everywhere. And we felt sad. We expected a little bit more. Now, we expected he will not be that impactful, but we expected a little bit more from the stuns, from the damage that he would do, or the healing will be a little bit bigger. We didn't know that he will be that lackluster in that definition of his utility kit. Now, of course, I pulled 1 copy of him just to have him on the account, and that's it. As a hero, I don't think he's really needed. I think if you want to go and play him in the towers, he will be great for the Graveborn Tower. And since we need a healer and we don't have a lot of healers, we're using Niru. Sometimes we even go and brute force our way in it and we don't use Niru. Now, I didn't progress that much. I didn't go and play that much in the towers, but I'll be playing and pushing more. I will use him at 1 copy and let you know, and make sure that he will do something, and I will show you how much healing he can do. But for bossing, if we want to talk about bossing, if we're gonna go into Dream Realm and check the bosses, we're gonna go and check that of course we didn't test him, nobody tested him. Why Snow Stomper? He's good with it because Snow Stomper, he silences everybody and his field stays on the field, so it keeps healing you and regenerating and dealing a little bit of damage if the front line is taking the damage, the most of the damage, and it hits the boss. So it's a little bit of RNG, and he's not required. All the lineups that we have right now are doing good actually even without him. So even when we gonna go and test him, and I will test him on my pay-to-win account, I'm gonna get him to Supreme Plus and test him as well on that account and check, does he add a little bit of damage? Is his heals more consistent? Is that a better option than using a Smokey? And as you see, we transitioned from using Smokey on this lineup as well, so everybody are using different lineups that are a little bit more better and does give you a good amount of damage. But that's what you can talk about him. Now, is he a must-have? Absolutely not. Is he even recommended? I wouldn't recommend. Maybe get 1 copy for yourself just to have him in the tower and maybe go and deal a little bit of damage with his field. But other than that, you don't need the damage from his field. You don't need anything from him. I think he's good specifically just for healing purposes. That's all. The seasonal buff is something that you could benefit from with him. I think to get him to Supreme Plus, just to get the stuns, just for the tower, it's not that good of an investment. If you want to go build up Carolina, build up Thorin, build up Igor, even Cecilia, you can buy her from the store or keep summoning for her. Now, if you maxed and build everybody, you can put him. He's an S rank or epic rank character, or whatever we call him. Yeah, S rank character, which is really good actually. But yeah, that's all about him. I don't think that you should go and push for him until we wait. Keep your tickets. Don't summon for him. Just wait a little bit. If they're gonna upgrade him, if we're gonna get a buff for him, he will be a little bit better. Then he will be worth your while. But for now, I think if you're free to play player or low spender, even if you're a whale and you think that I'm gonna build him by default whenever he drops to the banner and summon for him, that's also absolutely fine. But is he a must-have? Absolutely not. I don't think so. And I don't think for the tower he's that impactful. Maybe a little bit, maybe one copy of him would work just for the healings, and he will not die if he's being protected by other units. And yeah, that was it for the video. Let me know your opinions in the comment section, and if you summoned for him and if he's working for you. And yeah, if you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe. If you didn't, I thank you for watching, and as always, stay frosty. Peace.